Joker 2 was a complete disaster from a critic score, from an audience score, from a box office result, which just goes to show or begs the question, who's asking for this? Right. When they did the first movie, Todd Phillips said something along the lines of, I'm not doing a sequel. Like, this is meant to be a one-off.
Right.
But,
right.
They got greedy, right? All right. Welcome to Only Comics. I'm Mike. This is Adrian.
What up, man?
What's up, dude?
Getting a little nippalicious out there, dude.
Listen, bro. I got my car this morning. You know when you go to sit down and, like, you know, your shirt comes up a little bit?
Yeah.
Your back touches that seat? Bro, I thought Mr. Freeze was in that motherfucker, bro. I didn't rock the heated seat, dude.
I don't know about the heated seat, but I definitely had to throw that the heat on the foot.
Okay, you're warming up your feet on the way? Damn. Yeah, it was, dude. It's a little brisk, as they say.
It's a little brisk.
Yep, it tis the season almost, you know? A little Halloween leaves are falling everywhere, dude.
Yep.
You know, we got a lot of stuff going on though. We got Joker 2 dropped this week. Now, dude, I honestly was planning on going to see it. We'll get into this in a minute. And I'm not going to say that the reviews swayed my opinion, but they didn't help me get to the movie theater. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, so a little Rotten Tomato action.
Oh my God, dude. Yes. The tomatoes are rotten on this one. Let's just put it that way.
See, I told you, man. It's like, that's unfair. They should wait until after the thing drops, you know?
Oh, so I could have had to sit through it and, you know, then come here and complain
There's
about
that,
it. Yeah. But yeah, dude, it was, you know, set up some Halloween decorations at my house this weekend. Oh, yeah, dude, it's all lit up, you know, kind of, you know, puts me in the Batman mood for some reason.
Nope, I go straight from summer to Christmas.
So Halloween at Adrian's house?
No Halloween.
Are you give out candy? Are you one of those with, you know, don't come to knock on my door type of Halloween person or what?
I don't have a sign up.
Okay.
But I definitely leave all the lights out.
Got it. So they know.
Don't do it.
Oh, man. See.
No, I'm scarred, man. Along with, you know, Friday the 13th and Jace and all that kind of stuff. You see, back in my day, you know, they were putting like razor blades and apples that when they actually gave away real fruit. I mean, they were doing some nasty stuff back in my day. All right. So they kind of turned me off to the whole Halloween.
So you got like a Halloween PTSD almost. Dude.
Absolutely.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, Adrian, I can't promise that I won't talk about Halloween, you know, but dude, I just ordered Batman the last Halloween, episode 1. So we talk about the long Halloween a lot here, right? We did a review last year during this time. It's one of my favorite comics, period. But we also we talked about a new series that DC was working on with Jeff Loeb, the author of The Long Halloween. Okay. And Tim Sale was working on this project with Jeff before he passed. Tim Sale passed, I believe it was last year. And then they decided, you know, let's honor Tim, move forward with this series because they had the whole thing planned, written or whatnot. But unfortunately, Tim Sale is not here to, you know, provide the art. So they guess they have a different artist each issue. But first one dropped. Dude, I was telling you last week, I went to my local comic shop, Adrian. It was nowhere to be found. So I had to order it online, dude.
Okay.
You know? So anyways, it's coming in. When it does, we'll get a little read, and then, you know, we'll share my thoughts with everybody here.
All right. I mean, I understand buy local, but you can't buy local if you don't sell local.
There you go. There you go.
It's kind of hard to support, you know, when you walk in a place and they don't have 90% of the stuff on the shelf, and then they all say, well, we can order for you. Well, I can order it myself.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, that's exactly. It's like you were there with me. That's exactly what she said. She's like, oh, we don't have it. I can order it. Oh, like I can't just order it myself on my own phone, but.
Minus your upcharge.
Exactly. If you would have ordered it in the first place, it would have been here.
There you go.
But anyways, you know, I can't. I'm not gonna throw any shade. I love this local comic shop. It's been around since I was a kid and probably before then. But they just didn't have the comic book that I wanted. You know.
I think they're due to change the window stuff, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool to see this giant life-size Silver Surfer in there, but
it has been there about 30 years.
It has been there about 30 years.
It's about time, dude. So anyway, it's also about time to get into the news and rumors, Adrian.
Let's do it.
So we got the first piece of news. It's funny that you asked. It is Joker. You didn't ask, but I knew you were curious.
I was thinking about it.
Yes. So Joker box office projections, they're actually way below what was projected for this movie. It was projected to almost do what the first movie did in its first weekend, and this one is barely at half of that.
Wow.
So the Rotten Tomatoes Cinema Score, also another website that grades this movie, these are some of the worst scores in a long time. Not only that, from a box office results stand, this movie is at the same number that the Marvels was at when that movie dropped.
Wow. So this is a perfect example. We talked about Beetlejuice, right?
Yeah.
Just leave it alone. It was like a perfect first movie. I mean, I'm not saying the Joker was a perfect first movie because I never saw it.
Right.
But I'm saying you had a tremendous run with the first one.
It was good.
Just let it go.
Yep.
Nobody was asking for a Joker 2. There was no part 2 of Joker. Right?
Correct.
It just ended. Nobody was saying, "Oh, well, I'm missing something." Should have just left it alone. So you try to do, a repeat, and this is where we are. Now, what's going to happen is the actor's going to come out, the janitor, going to come out and be like, "Oh, hey, the movie, it was the director's fault."
Yep.
My acting was good. My ability to clean the stage was excellent. It was just, the director. So it's going to be somebody else's fault that, that the movie didn't do as well as the first one. So
it might be our fault for, maybe we don't understand it. Maybe that's it.
No, we understand it. It's not our fault at all.
But I do echo your statement. Who's asking for this? Now, not that, you always have to give us exactly what we asked for, because I kind of changed my stance on Thunderbolts last week after the recent trailer, because I do believe in the past I may have said who's asking for this. But after the last trailer, Adrian, I'm asking for it. I fucking bring it on. Let's go. But, they took what they had. They realized that, we just screwed everything up with the Marvels, actually, and that's not even fair. The Marvels was not a horrible movie. I think the bad movies before that ruined the box office chances for the Marvels, like Ant-Man, that disaster, atrocity, as we like to call it here. So when we do at some point create our only comic scale, atrocity it won't be numbers based. It'll just be labels.
Isn't there a comic book character, Atrocitus?
I think so.
I think so. I don't know if it's DC or Marvel, but I think that name is somewhere out there.
You might be right, dude. But
Atrocitus.
This Joker 2, like you said, nobody was asking for this. Matter of fact, when they did the first movie, I think the director, Todd Phillips, said something along the lines of, "I'm not doing a sequel. Like, this is meant to be a one-off."
Right.
But
right,
they got greedy, right?
Right.
Dude, they spent $200 million on this movie, and it did about $45 million the first week, which is nothing because the box office numbers typically cut in half the following week.
Right.
Like, this thing may not even do $100 million.
That's bad.
That's really fucking bad. So from Rotten Tomatoes, our friends at Rotten Tomatoes, we have like a love-hate relationship with Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, because we do, honestly, I will admit, we do shit on them on this show at times.
Well, I mean,
rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. But we also, talk about them sometimes in a decent light. So the Rotten Tomatoes score for this movie so far, the critic score is 33%.
Damn.
The audience score is 31%.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is definitely a no-go to the movies and watch.
Correct. Right.
Kind of event there.
Yeah, it's almost like, there's kind of a scale with the Rotten Tomatoes scores. Like, if you're in the 50s, 60s, I got to make my own decision about it. But if you're down in the 30s, that means of all the reviews they found, only 30% of them were positive.
Right. And then when the fans themselves shit on the movie.
Correct.
And they're on par with Rotten Tomatoes, it's a rotten movie.
Yeah, yep.
Did you find any reviews on Lady Gaga's performance?
I read some that said her performance was wasted, and another one that said it didn't live up to the expectations.
Okay.
Yep. Now, again, I haven't seen it, so this is just, what's out there.
So that's pretty much a 50-50 split,
Correct.
But I'm just curious to see, because I want to, verify that I'm right, that she's probably going to outshine Joaquin in this movie, even though it was a dud. The movie was a dud.
They said that Joaquin's performance brought nothing new. It was just a rehash of the same stuff they already saw in Joker.
It's hard to scale up, man.
It is, dude. It is. There was something. I'll tell you what turned me off from this movie this past week. So Todd Phillips was talking about the Joker and Batman, because obviously, Batman always comes up when you're talking about the Joker. Sure. And he said they asked about a possible interaction between the two, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker and Batman, and he said something along the lines of, here it is. He says that Arthur, that's the Joaquin Phoenix's Joker's name, Arthur Fleck. Arthur would be in awe of the alpha male that is Batman. I think he would look up and appreciate it. Arthur is fascinated by men at ease. And so I hear this and I go, this ain't Joker. Joker is not going to be in awe of Batman.
Right.
Joker wants to fuck with Batman.
That's it.
Joker he won't kill him, or he'll try, but he wants to like ruin Batman's. He's not in awe of Batman. It just tells me that like that's not the Joker character, which is why one of the reasons why I think this didn't do well. I think the first one was okay. It was a good movie. It was a good one-time watch.
Right.
But if you've seen Taxi Driver from Martin Scorsese, you've already seen this movie. Wasn't horrible, but it was like, dude, I tried to rewatch it after me and my wife went to the movie theaters when Joker came out. So we were part of that big old billion, Right. No fancy popcorn bucket though, so that was a letdown. We saw it there. It was good. It's kind of a depressing movie, to be honest. Some movies are meant to be crazy entertaining. Right. Deadpool Wolverine, you leave feeling great. This movie, you feel like, dude, I don't know, man. You start contemplating life, But all jokes aside, I tried to watch it again at home after it was released. Dude, I got about 10 minutes in, and I'm like, why am I putting myself through this? Right. I want to watch something fun, Wow. But hearing this, like, in what world is Joker in awe of Batman?
None. Joker's role, I mean, I think his self-assigned role, like you said, is to just tease and taunt Batman or kill him. And whatever role he decides to play is just a toss of a coin.
Right.
So he's not going to be in awe of him at all.
No.
He literally wants to kill him, but he wants to play with him more because, and I say that because he knows who Bruce Wayne is.
Correct.
The mask.
Yep.
He knows who Bruce Wayne is, and he could have exposed Bruce Wayne to millions of people.
Oh my God, a long time ago.
Yep. But he never does.
Correct.
So, and that's the part of his playfulness.
Yeah. And the thing about Joker, one of the things about the Joker character in the comics that is, I mean, really his whole foundation is the fact that he was created by Batman.
Right.
You go to the Killing Joke when they're, Ace Chemicals, the factory, they're trying to rob this joint. Joker gets set up. He's fighting with Batman. He falls into this big, vat of chemicals because in Gotham, they don't believe that you should cover your chemicals. You should just leave them wide open and allow people to fall.
In D.C., they don't believe in covering chemicals.
Yeah, exactly. Open them up. Yeah. OSHA is not, OSHA doesn't exist in D.C.
Exactly.
Because they'd have a field. Ace Chemicals would have been shut down years ago. We never would have had the Joker.
I mean, we even had the chemicals creating the Flash. Remember in the lab, the lightning came in, exploded some chemicals. Then you got,
Marvel, too. You got
Marvel, you got Daredevil.
Dude's just driving around with the chemicals in his truck and shit, running the red light. Like, come on, dude.
Oh, man.
There's not a lot of safety protocols in Marvel or DC. But I think that's one of the things that's instrumental to the Joker character is that his tie to Batman and his origin involves Batman. And in this one, it doesn't involve Batman. So I get this is proof. No one's asking for this.
Yep.
Or if you're going to make something no one's asking for, you better make it fucking good.
Right.
So anyway, moving on. The Penguin episode 2. We're talking about this a little bit later. You watched this past week?
I did.
Pretty good episode. Right on par with the first one.
Yep.
It hits the Penguin 2. The episode is over 16 million views. Or I'm sorry, 1.6 million views, which is a 17% increase from the week before. Basically, this movie's killing it on streaming.
Right. And I bet a lot of it is word of mouth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, what's funny is a lot of these shows now, they learned, a lot of these marketing teams learned from Deadpool and Wolverine. Remember when that movie was being marketed heavily? We saw a lot about the movie, but we saw more of Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds just hanging out and doing shit.
Right.
They were on that Hot One show with the Wings. They're doing all kinds of podcasts, interviews. They took over with someone's late night show, because they were funny. They had a good chemistry, and they looked genuine. Like these two are probably good friends, right? And I think people like that, and it it proved that it worked. They obviously made a good movie as well.
Sure.
And I've been seeing a lot of Colin Farrell and then Kristen Milioti. I forget how you say her name, but the girl who plays Sophia Falcone. I've been seeing them on same thing, interviews, joking around, press conferences.
Sure.
Like I've seen it also with the Joker. Now I've seen Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix all over TikTok. The problem is obviously the movie sucks. So my point, you got to have both.
Sure.
But dude, it's working, man. I mean, and I think it is word of mouth. It is, and it just goes to show you that if you make good shit, regardless of who's asking for it, people are gonna eat it up.
But a lot of it is the chemistry between the two people too. I mean, only comics.
Right.
You know, people coming on the comic because this is natural.
Absolutely.
You know, I even stopped. You asked me the other day, hey, dude, you want me to send you this stuff in advance? Or I'm like, no, dude. I just, so my responses are my responses at the time, not some scripted shit that that we playing in the background. So yeah, that definitely works.
Yeah. And it also works when the actors involved are fans of the content.
Sure.
It's not them just showing up for a job, right? Yeah. Like they asked Kristen, it's Emma Milioti, I guess. She loves the fact that she's playing Sophia, and this was in an interview. I don't know who this was with, but she says that she loves superhero films. She's tested for a lot of them. If someone my age was in it, I was probably up for it at different levels. So she's been trying to get into these, this genre for a while. She says that, I guess sometimes I'm not built for that, but I really get this character and sort of feel, and it felt sort of fate, whereas others, I do understand why I didn't get them. So, I mean, it sounds like in her mind, she was just meant to play Sophia. Right. Which, based off of her portrayal, I agree with that.
And the thing about it is that we see the performance. Yeah. Like we were talking this in a group a couple of days ago. You can see the psychosis in her eyes. You can see the psychoticness in her eyes. Yep. So kudos to her. Yeah. That it's almost like you found that character that you would love to play, even if you didn't have to play it. So
yeah, and I mean, to your point there, the chemistry between her and Colin Farrell is insane. Right. And that a lot of times will make or break a movie or show. Sure. It's painful watching something where you're like, dude, these two, it's like they don't even like each other, like when it comes across.
Or Captain Marvel, where you look like, I don't even want to be on the show at all.
Yep. Like, why am I in this fucking movie? But, and I think that was one of the things that, we saw in Deadpool Wolverine. Whatever you say about, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman's bromance, whatever the hell you want to call it, they have good chemistry. Right, they play well off each other. Yep. Like when when Wolverine's pissed at Deadpool, like, bro, you feel like he's really about to fuck this dude up. Like it just comes across. Yep. But yeah, I guess the only downfall about the show is we got to wait a week to see the next episode. I mean, it's been 2 for 2 so far. Yeah. We talk about Marvel and DC here and how we know they're watching the show, Adrian, right? We've also offered our help. Like, if you want to just run shit by us, like, hey, you can ask us who's asking for this, and we'll tell you. We are, we're not, Like, I would have told them, first of all, don't make Joker 2. And second of all, if you really insist that you have to make it, don't make it a musical. Because that also was a lot of people's complaint. Like, the musical part added nothing to this.
I don't understand the point of making a movie musical at all, and then a bad one. Right. So I wasn't down with that from the very beginning. So first of all, I didn't watch Joker 1. Was never going to watch Joker 2. But then they made a musical, which is also, that's like the second nail in the coffin right there. So
for real.
It's done.
Yep, it's a wrap. But, we know they're watching. We know that we believe they should just reach out to us and we can help them. But there's a rumor that Marvel, they're going to assemble a super fan focus group in an effort to combat online backlash. Okay. And this is what they've said about it so far. They're talking about the fan base. It says that they're very vocal. And I guess doing this, they will just tell us, if you do that, fans are going to retaliate. And if it's early enough and the movie isn't finished, we can make those types of changes. So what this says is that they're going to put together a super fan focus group to assess possible marketing materials for a major franchise project. So test. Hey, here's what we're thinking. Here's what we're going to do. Now, you don't need a super fan group. You don't. You just need the dynamic duo right here. That's it.
That's it.
I mean, we could handle this, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to pay us a little bit.
Sure.
We don't work for free here. Well, like here we do, but
right.
I mean, you'd be down with this, right?
Sure, but I mean that. So that super fan group to me is kind of like democracy, right?
Yeah.
There's this in America. You got this thing called democracy, and America really isn't a democratic place. It's it's run by back office conversation.
Right. Right.
So we could be that back office conversation.
Sure.
And that super group will be like democracy. Because the thing about it is this. Quite frankly, when it comes down to something like that, you probably get so tied up in, hurting somebody's feelings or the potential backlash of all of these fans, or the fans could pull like a Rotten Tomatoes and then just tank your project even before it gets off the ground,
right,
based on their opinion, or they go out and like the guy with the you're gonna ruin all kids because Catwoman called her roommate girly or something, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell my 900 million fan base that blah blah blah.
We're still waiting, by the way.
So they could potentially create like an equivalent of an online riot, right? Mm-hmm. So let's get behind this thing and just tank this project because we want to. So there's a lot of stuff involved. Listen, keep producing stuff. Get our feedback after the fact, like it always has been, mm-hmm, and then make a better movie in the future. Right. Just leave it at that. You don't have to do all this other crap. But in the meantime, we can be that, the magicians behind the curtain.
There you go. That super focused group right here. We're super focused. I feel super focused right now. And we're not afraid to share our opinions. So, and we're not going to be swayed by anyone online. Nope. I think we're the best for the job.
Sure.
So Marvel, Kevin, I know you're watching. Just reach out, dude. Just DM the page.
There you go.
We'll get back to you as soon as possible. Speaking of dynamic duo, there's a new DC project in the works, dude. DC is, maybe this Penguin show is a little bit of a resurgence for DC. Now, I guess the problem with DC though is so far the best content has not been their mainline content. It's been these they call them Elseworlds projects, right? Because they have the DCU, they want to make this big shared universe, right, but the Batman and the Penguin are completely separate from that. Right. And so far, those have been the best projects yet.
Okay.
But they're working on an animated movie that's going to be released in theaters. This animated movie is said to have a special, unique animation style. So I doesn't know. They mentioned Spider-Verse. I don't know if they're going to attempt that, or maybe just the fact that also has a unique style. So maybe they understand that when you're doing an animated movie, that's a big piece of it.
Right.
Now this show or this movie is titled Dynamic Duo, and it is it's going to be focused on Dick Grayson and Jason Todd as young orphans. In this movie, they're going to be best friends who share dreams of a better life. They're both orphans, and it shows how, basically shows their dynamic and I guess them growing up. I don't know if it's going to lead to them becoming Robin. Now, interesting. I guess at this point, dude, I'm here for anything for DC. But I don't know about the Grayson and James Todd being friends as kids. Seems a little odd. When you hear this, what do you think?
Trash.
Wow.
I don't want to see it.
Okay.
The only comical part about that is I foresee like a Joker breaking the pool stick moment because they're both going to be vying for Robin, right?
Yeah.
So outside of that, I don't want to see a backstory on Dick Grayson and Todd, whatever. Growing up to be, one becomes a psycho and all this other kind of stuff, and one becomes, the shadow of the greatest superhero on earth. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see that. Zero interest.
Here's my question: why?
Who's asking for this?
Yeah, like you have all these stories that have yet to be done on screen, proven stories that are they're in a comic book form. We've never seen them in live action. We've never seen them in animation. Not that you need to copy and paste, but you can definitely use what's already there to tell bigger stories along the same beats, right? as opposed to putting these two together as young children, which is it kind of, the more I talk about it, the more it reminds me of the Joker movie. You're changing, but you know what I mean? Just why?
Right.
Completely different origin, removing. Why is there so much Batman content without Batman?
Dude, we have literally given you, Only Comics has literally given you over a year of hidden gems.
Yeah.
You could go and pick any of those.
Right.
And make something far more fetching than these two clowns, right?
Right.
Coming up. In what world what does that do for anybody?
Right.
You know, you got a guy whose family was killed by the mob, you know, from a circus, and then you got another guy who the hell knows where he came from, but he grows up to be pretty much a psychopath, right?
Right.
So why do we need that?
Right.
When you got so many other characters you can either bring out into the light or expand upon. I mean, to a degree, yeah, we kind of beat to death, you know, Batman, Superman, the Flash, you know, the Avengers, all the, you know, the X-Men.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many other things that can come out. I don't think we need an orphan tale.
No, I don't. Even with those two characters, there's so many comic stories that were good that can be told.
Sure.
I mean, we talk about a death in the family here all the time. That's Jason Todd. Why don't we, in watching The Penguin and seeing Oz's relationship with Victor, you notice when he meets him, he's trying to steal his rims. If you remember when Batman meets Jason Todd in the comics, he's trying to steal the rims off the Batmobile. He's an orphan. This kid's pretty much an orphan. You could, like, that story's there. But again, you want to keep making Batman shit without this motherfucker in it.
Right.
Why?
So that part when they're bringing up a charge, you know, Batman's in it, and it helps build the Batman story.
Yeah.
These are sidekicks,
Right.
not alphas, not primaries, right? So it's like all this, you know, stuff around Spider-Man. Why are we creating all these Spider-Man-esque movies without the man himself?
Yep.
It's ridiculous, dude.
Dude, it's crazy. It'd be like me coming here and doing this without you, you know? Like, where's Adrian?
Hey,
You know?
Gonna do an AI version of it at some point.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm interested for the art style. The idea of a DC animated movie, big release, sounds cool. I don't know that I'm crazy about this concept of, you know, two characters that were never orphans together in the comics. They met through Batman. It just goes back to that my same issue. Just stop making Batman shit without Batman. Stop making Spider-Man stuff without Spider-Man. It's just weird.
It's like putting dinosaurs and humans on the Earth at the same time. They were millions of years apart.
Right.
Right. So, and why is it even relevant? I mean, come on, dude.
Right.
I want to throw up.
You think people who think the Earth is flat, they think the dinosaurs maybe just fell off the end?
Well, those that made it to the end, sure. Dude, I don't know. I don't know why people think that.
Anyways, this is a theme this week. Speaking of who's asking for this, I do think that there are people asking for this. I'm not one of them. Venom: The Last Dance.
Oh, okay. So
now you kind of like the trailer.
I did, but The Last Dance.
Yep.
I mean, that makes it sound like a musical to me. It makes me not even want to go watch it. The first ones were already bad, but then you got this thing. I mean, I kind of know what it's about. I kind of know what it means. You know, according to the trailers, some symbiote came from his planet.
Yeah.
And probably going to try to wipe him and everybody else out. I mean, it's kind of like that. You ever seen The Predators, where you got the a regular predator that everybody's accustomed to, but now you got this super genetic predator hunting the predator.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like that thing. So you got this, you got Venom, and now you got this super Venom coming to hunt Venom and everybody else that gets in his way. Whatever. But that's The Last Dance.
Is that the super Venom? Is that Null? Is that the guy you're talking about?
I don't know.
There's a I keep seeing this rumor, and I'm not familiar with the Null or the Venom character to that extent in the comics. The Venom I'm used to is the Spider-Man villain.
Correct.
You know, the guy was so I don't know his whole backstory and all that. But there's a character Null who I think he is that big. He's referred to as the god of the symbiotes. So it must be that giant like creature or whatnot. He's also rumored to be in Spider-Man 4. King in Black, is a storyline, but he's heavily featured in. But anyway, this is in the news because the movie comes out later this year. I actually forgot when it comes out. We talked about it before, but I think it's soon. Oh, October 25th. I'll probably go check this out. But Tom Hardy took to his socials this past week, and he says, "Thank you for a great time in 7 years. I've had the best experience at Sony working with Venom. This is me and the big guy. Last outing, going out with a bang. Come see us off. Last in the trilogy and done. We have had such a great time. Thank you." So the reason this is of news, Adrian, is Venom is rumored to cross paths with Spider-Man in the MCU at some point.
Okay.
Spider-Man's rumored to get the symbiote in Spider-Man 4. Null, I believe is this big god of symbiotes that you're talking about, is also rumored to be in Spider-Man 4. So you hear all this, kind of sounds like Tom Hardy might be in Spider-Man 4. Now he says this, he could be pulling an Andrew Garfield, that lying motherfucker. He could just be straight up bullshitting. I mean, he's lied to us before when he played Bane and he acted like he was 6'4" and he's really 5'6".
Right.
That upset some people, but
apparently you.
No, I mean me saying that, me pointing that out upset some people. But he lied to us. He acted like he was big. He's not. He could be lying here, dude. Now, do you think this is really Tom Hardy's last outing as Venom, or do you think he's going to show up in the MCU?
I give zero shits about what Tom Hardy is doing, dude. I don't care. I mean, this I don't give a shit.
Okay. All right. But you don't have a prediction.
No, I do not.
Okay.
Because I mean, for me to predict something, I kind of have to care, and I don't. So. Okay.
Now, you don't think it'd be cool to see Tom Holland fight that Venom?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No.
Well, I'm on the side of I think it would be. Okay. And I'm not upset. I'm not going to go tell my 900,000 friends on TikTok about you, Adrian. Not going to do that. I'm not going to. You should just agree with me because I'm always right. Not going to do that either. But I think it would be cool. And I'm gonna go on the record, Adrian. I'm gonna make a prediction. Tom Hardy's fucking lying.
Think so?
Yep, I think so. It would be odd, but hopefully they don't follow, DC's playbook here and make a Spider-Man movie with a symbiote with Null and not have Venom in it. It would be almost like having a Batman show without Batman. I mean, the storyline says Venom should be there. Now, does that mean it needs to be Tom Hardy's Venom? Not necessarily, but it's the one we're used to. The symbiote from that Venom is technically still in Marvel 616
sure.
from the post-credit scene. So who knows? But my prediction is he's lying. He's going to be there.
Spider-Man 4, if they keep, what's the kid?
Tom Holland.
Yeah. Which would be like a breakout thing because that would be his fourth Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Besides all the cameos that he's done, right? Right. Spider-Man and Venom in a movie together is a natural progression. It's just that to me the Venom movies were so borderline. It would just be a travesty to see Tom Hardy and this guy in the same movie together.
Okay.
So that's my shit on the Venom stuff. But I think it should happen.
Yeah.
And if Venom comes over, Spider-Man gets the black suit, and then No would be like a natural adversary in that movie. So, I'm looking forward to the movie or the spin on it.
Yeah.
Just not this guy playing him. That's all.
But yeah, to your point, if Spider-Man gets the black suit, knows the god of the symbiotes. Maybe he has an issue with it. Maybe he's trying to get it back. It would. But to your point, it seems like an easy setup or easy justification for Noel to be the villain in this.
Sure.
If it's like he stole one of my suits. He stole one of my aliens.
Yep. He stole a piece of me.
Yeah.
A lot of these movies, these attacks. When you see a bunch of things happening, these attacks look like they're a bunch of individuals when it's really one entity split into many pieces.
Right.
And maybe the symbiote is a piece of no.
Yep, absolutely. All right, well, that is the news, the comic news and rumors for the week. We're going to wrap this up with a little thumbs up, thumbs down. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right. Number one, Joker 2 was a complete disaster from a critic score, from an audience score, from a box office result, which just goes to show or begs the question, who's asking for this? Right. And I give this a thumbs down.
I'm going to give it a thumbs up because it was a disaster.
Okay. All right. It's a good perspective. The Penguin episode 2 hits 1.6 million views on streaming, 17% increase from the first week. I give this a thumbs up. I'm loving this show so far.
I agree. Thumbs up.
Marvel Studios assembling a super fan focus group to help combat a lot of you out there, a lot of you internet trolls, that say it's too woke, it's this, it's that. They're tired of your shit. They want to put a group together to test their marketing materials and whatnot prior to release. I give this a thumbs up.
I give it a thumbs up, even though I don't like the idea of, I don't think it'll be as successful, but I like the idea of inclusion.
Okay.
So I give it a thumbs up for that. And for those of you that go into theaters and buy buckets and just leave without watching a movie, they won't include you.
Yeah. Yep. Fuck you guys. The other thing, Marvel, you don't need a super group. We're right here.
All right.
All you need is us.
Yep. Just run it by us.
Yep. We got you. DC planning a dynamic duo movie revolving around James Todd and Dick Grayson as orphans together. I'm going to give this a thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
Tom Hardy says he's done with Venom. This is the last ride, the last dance, as they're calling it. Now, I'm going to give this a thumbs down because I think you're lying. I think you're going to be in Spider-Man 4.
I'm going to give it a thumbs up because I'm glad you're done with Venom.
There you go. All right, that's thumbs up, thumbs down. You guys let us know if you agree with us. If you don't, honestly, we don't really care, but that's a lie.
We care.
We care. I'm not going to be offended or upset if you don't. So if you're trying to rage bait, you guys are all wrong, it's not going to work. It's too woke, bro. It's too fucking woke, man. If you watch a gay person, you're going to turn gay. That's what they think. It's the craziest thing ever.
Or apparently they've taken it even a step further. If you imply that there is gayness in the movie when there's actually none going on, then your children are going to be gay.
That's crazy. Dude, if that was the case, wouldn't everyone be gay?
Everybody.
But anyways, hit or miss cast, Adrian. There's a little Penguin theme this week, okay, and the Batman. This is where I don't give out because I don't cast anybody. I name some casting choices in comic book movies or shows, and Adrian will let you guys know if he thinks it's a hit or a miss. Ready?
Before that, when you say I name, it's almost like a character, like a title, like he above all or something.
Oh yeah,
I name. I just thought it was funny,
dude. I'm funny, That's why it works, bro. That's why they keep coming back. All right,
I name. Go ahead, I name.
I will name these for you, Adrian. All right, you ready?
Ready.
Colin Farrell as Oz Cobb.
Hit, absolutely.
Out of the park. Kristen Milioti as Sophia Falcone.
Hit.
Clancy Brown as Salvatore Maroni.
I'm gonna say a hit only because there really wasn't a different portrayal, so I don't have anything to compare to. So I say hit.
All right. John Turturro as Carmine Falcone.
Miss.
Damn, you didn't like him?
I mean, it was. Well, let me change that. I'll say hit because again, there's no real comparison.
Right.
Live action.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah. We had the one in the Dark Knight series, but he was not that good. Yeah. And last but not least, one word, one name for you, Battinson.
So what's the question?
Hit or miss?
The name?
No. Robert Pattinson as the Batman.
Early Batman hit.
Damn, hit across the board this week, Adrian. Look at that. I think the only one I would disagree with is Clancy Brown and Salvatore Maroni. I fucking hate it. I really do. It annoys me. And like this. First of all, he's not Italian.
Right.
He don't sound Italian. And you're like, now you.
Jesus not white. Egyptians aren't white.
True.
I'm just saying.
Yep. But, Salvatore Maroni. There's no Salvatore Maroni that's not Italian. He needs to at least have an accent or something. I mean, come on. Everyone around him.
In the grand scheme of the thing that is the Penguin, it is a eye drop in the lake of goodness.
Okay.
So I will just I don't even think about it, dude.
So it's, I guess, because the Penguin's so good, you kind of give this shitty ass fucking portrayal a pass.
Correct.
Okay.
I wouldn't have phrased it like that.
And before anyone gets all upset, I'm not saying Clancy Brown's not a great actor. He's a great actor. Mm-hmm. He's not Salvatore Maroni.
Right.
I actually think the Maroni from The Dark Knight was better. The one that tries to shoot Harvey Dent in the courtroom.
Yeah.
I mean, looked more like Maroni.
True.
But anyways, next up, what the fuck, Rotten Tomatoes? Actually, and before we move forward, there's a disclaimer. I should have probably, stated this in the beginning. This is only comics, Adrian. Mm-hmm. This is where we discuss comics and only comics.
Well, clearly, in this episode alone, not only, but
not
sure.
Only. And I will let everyone know, because people like to correct us. That's not what happened. Like, okay, you're probably right, dude. Like, but you knew what I was talking about.
Sure.
Like, I love when they correct, like, the way you say someone's name. Like, it's like Gyllenhaal, I guess, is actually Gyllenhaal. Which I knew that, but I was saying Gyllenhaal, I don't know, and someone like corrected.
But they know who you're talking about.
Exactly.
Tomato.
You're not adding anything to the conversation outside of, I know something. Guess what? Shut the fuck up. But anyways, I will let you know this. We are not experts, Adrian.
Nope.
We are only fans.
And you might
no,
be
not
only fan,
no, not we're just fans. We're just fans. Okay, no baby oil, none.
Man, this is gonna be a long year.
Man, I threw you off. It looks like you forgot what you were gonna say.
I did.
All right, well, moving on. What the fuck, Rotten Tomatoes? There's a little theme this week, Adrian. Some of our fans have been asking us what are our top 5 MCU movies, right? So I got mine prepared. You got yours?
Yep.
Now, we're not going to go into that yet. I figured we'd have a little fun with Rotten Tomatoes, our friends at Rotten Tomatoes. Mm-hmm. Now, we asked everybody a few weeks ago which one of us was Deadpool, which one of us was Wolverine, right? And I think we settled that. Mm-hmm. Now, I got a question, because Deadpool and Wolverine, they could be, in some comics, villains. They could be heroes. Mm-hmm. They could be anti-heroes, right? Only comics as a whole. Would you consider us a villain, a hero, or an anti-hero?
Anti.
I think so too. I agree with that. So, what do you guys think? Yeah, because I mean, we're not villains. We're not just evil for the sake of being evil.
We could say some mean things.
Correct.
Possibly, depending, and then change our minds later about it.
Exactly.
So who knows?
We don't have a no-kill rule. We'll fucking just slaughter you online. But, anyways. What the fuck, Rotten Tomatoes? So the theme for this week, Adrian, I went to my boy ChatGPT, and it was being kind of stupid, honestly. I had to ask like 8 times for this, and then I had to confirm, but that's a whole nother story.
I've heard some news about ChatGPT.
Yeah?
They're like kind of like shitting on it.
Dude, it's like it's getting worse. You ask it, give me these 10 things, it gives you 6, and it's like, here, bro, I said 10. 10. Anyways. So after like doing this like 18 times, I found the top 5 MCU movies by critic scores, Rotten Tomatoes, and then the top 5 by audience scores. So I figured let's give Rotten Tomatoes list first.
Okay.
Then we'll give ours.
Sure.
So we'll start with the critic scores. And I'll start at the bottom. Number 5. Thor Ragnarok at a 93% from a critic standpoint is the 5th highest rated critic score MCU movie. Yeah, it's a mouthful. Number 4, Spider-Man No Way Home, also at 93. Number 3, Iron Man, the first Iron Man at 94. Number 2 is Avengers Endgame at 94. And number 1 is Black Panther at 96. I would say I have a few of these on my list, but I don't agree with this list. What do you think about this list?
That's pretty much my list.
Are you a Rotten Tomatoes critic and you didn't tell me?
No, but I like different movies for different reasons.
Yeah.
A matter of fact, there's like a 1 and 2, and then everything else could be classified as a 3.
Okay.
But I mean, we'll get into it.
All right.
That's pretty much my list.
So that's
except
the
for
critics.
maybe 1.
Okay. The audience scores. This is top 5 by audience scores. Number 5 is Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever at 94%.
Man,
Yeah.
this is already going bad. That is definitely not my list.
No, that ain't on my list either. That spoiler, that's not on my list either. That ain't even on my top 10.
Right?
Number 4 is Guardians of the Galaxy 3 at 94%.
Okay.
Not on my list, but I'm not throwing a flag on that.
Right.
That's a great movie,
Sure.
dude. I think that's the best of the 3.
Sure.
Number 3, Deadpool and Wolverine at 97%.
Damn.
Yeah, I throw no shade on that one. Number 2 is Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings at 98%. You've not seen this.
I have not seen it. But
It is a good
wow.
movie. I highly recommend this movie.
Wow.
This is one I should rewatch over going to see Joker 2, honestly. It came out like shortly after COVID, so the movie theaters were not back yet.
Sure.
So only the diehards went to see it.
Right.
I've not heard a single negative piece of feedback about that movie, honestly. So that's one I highly recommend, Shang-Chi. And the number 1 MCU movie by audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is Spider-Man No Way Home at 98%.
Okay.
Okay. So it's hard because I like half of each list, you know?
Sure.
Like top 5 by critics, yeah, it's a solid list. I throw no flags on all that. I love Black Panther. I wouldn't put it number 1 though.
Right.
And then audience score, the only one that really sticks out to me is Black Panther Wakanda Forever. That's just not that good of a movie.
Right.
I think people cloud their judgment with the Chadwick Boseman tribute, which I think was phenomenal.
Right.
But
that does not make a good movie.
no, like the rest of the story, it's kind of like we started here. I mean, you got some eye sweat going. You got, the dude really died, and they retired the character, and then it's just like it never got back to that height for me. I think
It started out as an A and went swiftly to a D.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. So, of these two lists, I would say that I think the critics are more accurate. What about you?
I agree.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it. What the fuck, Rotten Tomatoes. Now we're gonna give you our top 5 MCU movies. Okay. So I'll start with my number 5. We'll go from the bottom up. My number 5 is Deadpool and Wolverine.
Okay.
It some people may throw a flag on this. They may think it's it's too goofy. It's this. It's that. But I think it was the perfect comic book movie. It had a little bit of everything. It had some emotion. It had tons of action. It had some awesome comic suits. It had, hilarious fucking moments and some of, the best action scenes we've seen in a while. The fights were amazing, brutal, and it was adult, and it just it did what it was supposed to do.
Right.
What was your number 5?
My number 5 was also Deadpool and Wolverine, but it was like a tie with that in Ragnarok.
Okay.
I think Deadpool was what Thor: Love and Thunder should have been.
Yeah, there you go.
So it would have been a Thor Love and Thunder and a Deadpool Wolverine light would have been a natural progression, from the previous movie. It was not, but
Right.
So Ragnarok and Deadpool.
Okay.
Number 5.
I honestly, if Deadpool Wolverine wasn't my number 5, it probably would have been Ragnarok.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Yep.
My number 4 is Avengers Endgame.
Okay.
This is one I almost didn't put this on here, but this is one of those movies where there's some moments that are so good that it brings the overall score of the movie up for me.
Right.
It's not the perfect movie. There's some parts that drag, what I
Sure.
mean? It's a long movie.
It is.
There's some things that don't age well, like the Smart Hulk, dabbing in the fucking restaurant. Like the first time you saw it was funny, And then now that Hulk, is in like an arm brace and he can't do shit. He's useless.
Like when do you ever? His healing power is so insane.
Correct.
He should never be in an arm brace.
Never.
But,
like unbelievable. So, and it started in Endgame.
Right.
You had the fat Thor, which made Thor goofy enough to where you could do something as bad as Love and Thunder, or at least attempt it. So I think to start, but the moments like, Tony going back in time and meeting his, interacting with his dad before his dad even had Tony.
Right.
Cap fighting Cap, the whole Endgame battle, the sacrifice. I mean, there's so many moments in this. So my number 4 is Avengers Endgame. My
number 4 is No Way Home.
Oh, okay, nice. That's actually my number 3, which, I mean, it caps off, or it ties all the Spider-Man movies together.
Right.
In the same way that Deadpool Wolverine kind of does for the Fox movies. I think it's a little more with No Way Home because there's less characters. It's just the three Spider-Men. But the fact that, I was nervous when I heard about what they were planning with this movie because it seems like a crazy concept to take 3 Spider-Men from 3 completely different cinematic universes and bring them together. And, I mean, but they nailed it, dude.
Right.
They nailed it.
And the thing I like about it is that it set it up to get back to a grounded Spider-Man story.
Yep.
Street level story, which always to me dominates.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, it's got, it really had, it set them up so they could do anything with Spider-Man 4. It was almost like a reset, but keeping the same Spider-Man. It's like they did a reboot, but they didn't, and seeing some of these villains come back, like William Dafoe as Green Goblin, I'd almost say he was more of he was a better Green Goblin. Not that he was bad in the past, but in No Way Home, he was a better version of the Green Goblin than he was in the first Spider-Man movie.
I agree with that.
I like the fact that he wasn't wearing the mask and he had that hood and he looked closer to the comic, costume. I mean, because I don't know what he did to his face, but motherfucker looked like the Goblin.
It's cold age.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's the old people that don't look like goblins, but holy shit.
Hey.
But yeah, so that's my number 3. What's yours?
It's bad when somebody can put a pumpkin on a table and like, dude, this is what you're gonna look like in 50
Here's
years.
your future.
My number 3 was Infinity War.
Okay.
I was thinking about Infinity War Endgame, but I like the scale of Infinity War. It was just a lot going on, and they pulled it off. They did, which is hard for regular movies to do.
Yeah. Well, funny. That's my number 2, Infinity War. I absolutely love this movie. This is a movie that I could throw on at any time, and I could have it on the background while I'm doing shit and just pop it. Like it started. This is one of the few movies that kind of comes in at like a 8 or 9 as far as action and pace, and there's not a dull moment in this. Right. It stays at that pace the entire time, but it's good.
Right.
There's some movies that do that, like some of these, like the Jurassic Park movies or sometimes the Fast and Furious. They're up there the whole time, but they're not good.
Right.
This, everything made sense.
Yep.
It did so much to tie in a lot of the movies that we've already seen. I mean, it brought the Guardians of the Galaxy in. Like, think about the amount of characters in this damn movie that they juggled.
Right.
You had Thor, you had Iron Man, you had Cap, and they were all still split from Civil War. You had Wanda, you had Vision, you had, all the Wakandans.
Right.
The Guardians of the Galaxy meet Thor. You had Thanos and his army. You got Spider-Man. Like, dude, so many big characters. I mean, even
Valkyrie. All of
Valkyrie.
Asgard, pretty much.
Yep. You had the whole Asgard. It was just done so well.
Right.
And the ending. I mean, the whole snap like that. That's still. I mean, I do think that they're set up to do great things over the next couple of years. I'm interested to see how they're going to top that moment and this, and then the build that this was for Endgame. We've never seen anything like it.
Right. Well, they can top it by resurrecting Black Panther, which is my number 2.
Okay, number 2 is Black Panther.
Yeah, to me, it was such an iconic movie. I mean, that movie started like a whole movement. Movement. I mean, people going around greeting each other like this, things like that.
People thought Wakanda was a real place and
exactly,
shit. Yeah.
Exactly. So it moved me with the culture the way Miss Marvel moved me with the Indian culture. I just it's one of those moments you just kind of sit back in the recliner and just, observe and be like, wow, this is cool. So that's why it was my number 2.
Got it. Wow. That's I didn't have that on my list. I mean, it definitely would be in my top 10 MCU movies. My number 1 is Civil War. We talked about this movie a few weeks back, and I think y'all know how much I absolutely love this movie. To me, it's slightly smaller scale than Infinity War, but just how I like that it told kind of a grounded story. Because sometimes with these movies, we get so caught up in everything's a universe ending, a multiverse ending,
galaxy collapsing.
I mean, we're getting ready to deal with incursions and all this, which is going to be cool to see.
Sure.
But you got to have balance. If everything is end of the world, then nothing's end of the world.
Right.
It's like, dude, you're not going to, the last movie, they survived. And the fact that this Civil War was more about just the team breaking, like that was a real threat that this team could be dismantled. And then between, Baron Zemo and his, crazy plan and, just years of fucked up history with Bucky, like he tore apart the Avengers, which was cool to see on screen. It felt like real stakes.
Right.
And sometimes with movies, it's like, there's no stakes anymore. Yeah. Not to keep knocking Fast and Furious, but like, is Dom Toretto just Superman?
Right.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, that I was surprised to see that they wiped out Gal Gadot at some point, because typically when you come into the movie, when you come into the family, you're part of the family,
right?
And something tragic is going. I mean, what's her face? They thought what's her face was dead for a couple of movies. His girl, Dom Toretto's girl.
Oh yeah, Letty.
Yep. Yeah. She was supposed to be out for a while, and and they let Gal Gadot's character go out so she can make Wonder Woman. And then she got kicked off of that, and now she shows up in a giant nuclear Russian submarine. So everybody's gods in that movie. Yep. And Toretto's, he's at the top.
Yeah, it's a little much, dude.
He's the Golden Age Superman.
It seems like it, but there's you never think anything's gonna happen to him because he always finds a way out, right? And in this movie, it's like they didn't find a way out. They ended up getting back together, but then you saw the impact in Infinity War with the team split, which is pretty much the reason why Thanos was able to do what he did, because the only team out there that could stop him was dismantled. Right. On opposite sides of the freaking universe.
Well, what really happened was somebody got into what's his face's head and made him pause. Yeah. And that's really why it didn't go down. Yep. Lord, whatever. The dancing dude from
Star-Lord.
Star-Lord.
Yep, he fucking ruined it.
Yep, dude. He paused.
Yep. So Civil War's mine.
Was that a Martha moment?
Yeah.
When he paused?
Yeah.
It's up thinking there. About his girl?
It's up there, dude. It's not as bad as the Martha, but it just pisses you off. It's like dude, what's crazy? This is the problem with, some fans. Dude, they were upset. They were attacking Chris Pratt online.
What?
Yeah, like talking shit to him about like you fucking you ruined the plan. Like dude, he's an actor. Relax. He's not really Chris Pratt. Like
I don't know if you ever seen the show Ghost on I think it's Prime.
Okay.
Where anyway, it's about this street hustler. He grows up. He tries to get out of the life, so on and so forth. But his son is an absolute dick. He's like a Jason Todd level dick. Oh, right? Perfect. But this dude gets accosted in the elevators. I mean, the actor gets accosted in the elevator because of some shit that was happening in the movie. He's like, dude, it's a show. It's a show.
That's crazy.
It's funny. Dude. So I understand that part.
You seen this last season of The Boys?
No.
No? Okay. Well, there's you haven't seen any of it?
No. I haven't started yet.
I won't spoil it. But there's a girl who's in this show that does, basically, she does some revealing shit. Mm-hmm. And the actress, whenever she's out at Comic Cons and stuff, she was online complaining about this. There's guys that are like trying to get her to like flash them and shit like that.
Wow.
Yeah, like just. Are you crazy? Like, are you insane? This is an actress. She's not really the character on the show. She's not really going to do what she did on the show. But anyway.
Those are the dangerous ones, man.
Absolutely.
They cannot transition. They cannot separate church and state.
Yep.
It's like, to them, everything is everything.
Mm-hmm. Those are probably the same ones that go, it's too woke, man.
My 900,000 followers.
Still waiting. So, my number one, Civil War, dude. What's yours?
My number one is the iconic, the one that started it all.
Iron Man. Nice.
Yep.
Okay. Which is a great one. This was hard because there's so many that I wanted to include because there's just so many good movies in this, you know.
It is. I mean, we're not talking about like the Captain America stuff.
Right.
I mean, that's just so much out there.
Like I could see Winter Soldier being up there. I mean, I could see even the first Avengers could be. I mean, there's just so many. So this is like, I guess this is a disclaimer after the fact. This is my list as of today of my favorite.
Right.
I'm not saying like, you know, this is the best movie. These are my favorite MCU movies to watch. Exactly. Right
Which might change after a rewatch.
Yeah. Because just because it's my favorite movie to watch doesn't mean it's the best movie.
Right.
There's some like, you know, great.
Or even vice versa.
Right.
You know?
Like, I think The Godfather, the first one, is probably one of the best movies ever. But I'm not going to watch it all the time.
Right.
You got to kind of be in a certain mood, mindset to watch that. Dude, Infinity War, I can go on home today and throw it on and watch and go paint the room, you know, while it's on. Like it's
exactly.
You know, we could put it on right now while we're doing the show, you know. But so number one, Iron Man. Dude, I love that movie.
Yeah.
It's and it's a movie that it has aged well, but when you go back and watch it, it's like crazy to think that this is the same MCU.
Right.
It's a little more edgy. I mean, there's a part where he's kind of, you know, he's running through the girls and he's in Pepper's like getting rid of the model that he slept with last night. Like, I mean, there's sex in the show. So it's funny because no one complained about the indoctrination of children with that because of the sexuality.
Because it was a male doing it.
Oh, that's okay, because it was straight.
Yeah. Got that whole sexist thing going on.
Yep.
You know?
Gotcha.
Men can do it. Women cannot.
Correct. Well, women can as long as it's not with another female, because that you make your kid gay, and then you know, maybe I gotta get a new kid after that. I don't know. It's so some people. But anyway, those are the top fives. Let us know what are your top fives. And that was a great question. I forget who asked us a few weeks ago. But then someone reminded us too, like, aren't you guys gonna like, you know, we get to it, we get around to it, you know. Next up, you know, we'll go Agatha first, because let's say Penguin for last. Did you watch the recent episode?
This episode, this part is going to be short because dude, I think I'm trailing off.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
The last episode was weird.
Yeah, I'm like, really? I mean, the whole, it's not a musical, but it is. Yep. Everybody's trying to be funny. It's just nonsense.
I'm honestly at the point where I'm like, just get to the Scarlet Witch part, and get to the part where this ties to other shit, so we can just be done.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say this: I was kind of dozing off in the last episode, but I just felt like I kept waking up, and it's just they're still doing the same shit.
Right. Well, I didn't doze off; I just turned it off.
Okay.
So.
So I mean, I am gonna give it another watch this next week, but I will say was that the fourth episode? I think it was the fourth. Of the 4 episodes, the fourth one was the worst for me.
Right. I might give it another attempt on the 5th one, but seriously, I would probably take that one off the shelf.
Now, when we were talking about this a few weeks ago, remember at first you said that, or you thought Madam Web was Agatha.
Yes.
So I did a little research, Adrian. I think I wanted to share a little bit about Agatha's origin. That is something that I did not know, and I think you'll be interested in this because you're a big Fantastic Four guy.
Yep.
You're the guy who really muted Franklin Richards as a hidden gem a while back, and talked about his powers, and really, I mean, I always looked at him as just like the kid.
Right.
I didn't realize how fucking powerful this dude was. But I don't know if you knew this. Agatha Harkness was introduced in the comics as the governess of Franklin.
Yep.
She was his nanny.
Yep.
Ain't that some shit?
Yep.
And
And then after her or before her, Reed built this robot that was his nanny, which Franklin proceeded to melt.
Okay.
When his powers first evolved.
Wow. So yeah, I thought that was a little unique fact. I wonder if there's any potential to see that in the MCU. We got the Fantastic Four coming up, right? I believe that Franklin Richards is going to be in this. I think they already have kids at this point because this movie is an established team. It's not necessarily the origin story. Okay. We got a Scarlet Witch. Now, different universe, but who knows? Maybe.
But I mean, they could be an established team, but before Franklin, though.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, to have the Franklin dynamic, it would be cool. Maybe at the end, Susan is going through something and she has Franklin. But I think it'd be a lot to have Franklin in it.
Yeah.
Or just having when Reed has put all the blocks on him and he's just a kid running around.
Yeah.
So he's like
that's what it sounds
background.
like. It sounds like they're just kids in this because who knows? But dude, Agatha she is the oldest and most powerful, or one of the oldest and most powerful witches in Marvel. And this stuff, like you start reading this, and it's like, dude, it's cooler than what we've seen on screen. So far, you know.
This on screen thing just makes her like this sexual kind of thing. It's leaning a lot toward that,
right?
You know,
maybe it's too woke. You know,
it's kind of boring.
Yes,
is what it is.
It was. She was present during the Salem witch trials and actually survived by forming her own coven. And then the other big thing is that she's a key mentor to Wanda, Scarlet Witch, and it has helped her kind of hone her abilities in the comics. So, I mean, could really be it's like it could have been a really cool show.
Yeah.
Now, who knows? Sometimes they get off track in the middle. Maybe they get on track towards the end. I don't know, I guess. But I think they're just dragging this section of this season out a little bit. I just want to get to the part that actually matters.
Yeah, but then that just means it's bad writing.
Yeah.
If the audience feels like this is only show number 4,
right?
You know, in a season, and it's dragging. That's bad writing, dude. It's like, why did you even make the show if we're going to get stuck in the mud this early on?
Right.
You know? You could have just made it like a trilogy, not a trilogy. Well, yeah, a trilogy of movies.
Yeah.
Part 1, 2, and 3, and then call it a day. You know, you could have wrapped all these 4 shows up, and they're short too. I mean, they're like 39 minutes, 41 minutes, but the last 11 minutes is trailers.
Right.
So, I mean, you're really talking about a 20-minute episode a week for some nonsense. That could have been, you know, part 1 of a trilogy.
Right.
Then get into finding Wanda, and then whatever happens after Wanda. I mean, it's losing me. That's all I can say.
And here's the issue. There's 9 episodes of this.
Oh my God.
This probably should have been a 6-episode show.
Right.
We should be getting towards the end of it. It didn't need, and this goes back to that whole concept of what some of these shows become. They're usually not a show. They're just a long movie.
Right.
That's too long. Right. Then you have, you know, why do we need to sing all the fucking time?
Right.
We've heard the song already. It's all right. I don't need to hear it every episode.
And then different songs conjure different things.
Yeah.
So that means that every show is going to be a different version of a song that we have to listen to.
Yep.
Somebody's up in flames or dying or scratched or it's going away, dude.
Yeah, no, it's and unfortunately we're just at the halfway point, you know. So so moving on, The Penguin, episode 2. Now, because we, you know, guys, believe it or not, we film on Sunday, and this is now Monday when you're watching this, so we've not seen episode 3. So we'll, you know, hopefully we'll be going to watch that tonight. Saw episode 2. Dude, great episode.
Great episode.
I mean, so much going on. We saw, you know, we kind of go a little, you know, all around the place, but we saw interesting dynamic with his mom. Mom's dementia.
Right.
His mom seems to be kind of the driving force behind like he wants to make his mom proud. Right. She kind of leans to like a little manipulative side. Right. You know, the whole like, she talk shit to him pretty much. Yep. Like, you know, if you're useless, what the hell am I? I'm paraphrasing, but and it goes back to that Sopranos comparison for me. I know you're not big on the show, but him and his mom had a very interesting dynamic as well. Love-hate relationship. Yeah. But we see that, she's kind of the one that's, lighting the fire into Oz.
Right. And I mean, and that's cool where you see someone, I mean, they could be, batshit crazy, taking out everybody else, but mom is the shit.
Right.
I mean, mom is the foundation, and then, he'll move, hell and earth for mom, regardless of whether she remembers him this minute or the next.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a cool dynamic.
Yep. We also see Alberto's funeral.
Yep.
And Penguin's trying to set up Vito or Vidi. Mm-hmm. He wants to give the photos to what's his name? Luca, maybe? Yeah. And the guy just brushes them off. Right. He's like, yeah, basically, fuck out of here. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't even. It was, so in his eyes, Penguin is such a nobody. He didn't even, it's almost like he didn't even recognize him.
Right.
He's like, you're so beneath me. I'm not even going to give you the attention of getting away from me. I'm just going to just move like you're not even there.
Right. We see the, dude, Oz is playing both sides really well.
Oh, yeah.
And he sets up the drop robbery. Mm-hmm. And what's his name? Vidi kind of I don't know that he caught on to it, but he made him go in the armed car. Mm-hmm. So now it's like, dude, I'm in the car that they're getting ready to fucking attack. Mm-hmm. I'm like, dude, how the hell is he going to get out of this? Mm-hmm. And then he gets up, starts telling jokes. And but there was a nice little setup. I thought that scene was pretty cool, the robbery.
Yeah. I mean, it's always interesting. Like I said about the first episode, this dude is he's playing ultra chess or something.
Yeah.
He's 10, 15 moves ahead, everybody. And like he said in the show later on to his little sidekick, you got to be able to think on, there's no script for this.
Yeah.
You have to be able to think on your feet. Mm-hmm. And he's done that a lot. So if he's not 10, 12 moves ahead, he's calculating in the moment, like with the knife thing.
Yeah. And then Sophia hires the detective,
right,
to help her get some evidence. And
who was that? Who was that? I thought it was Bull, the guy
Bullock.
Yeah,
he kind of looks like, but no, he's just some random detective that's he used to be on Carmine's payroll.
Whoa,
because you remember in the Batman, I mean, that was when Carmine was killed and Batman infiltrated the whole building. That's when they kind of ruined that whole, dynamic where most of the cops were on Carmine's payroll.
Right.
They're getting him he's cleaning up the police force, if you will. But there's still some that are crooked like this guy.
Sure.
And then he's a drop head.
Right.
Dude, Sophia's just sick, dude. She we're open a restaurant, offer this dude she knows is a drug addict drugs, and she's like, go ahead, take it right now. You want to take it right now? You can do it right now.
Yeah.
Just wait and then fucking takes or gets him to do what she wants him to do. Right. She's a savage, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then this motherfucker kidnaps the guy who's in the hospital who was, Irvad. Dude shows up hey, here he is.
That's some out of the box thinking.
Yeah.
Right there. You know the information? Hey, I got the source right here. That was pretty cool.
Dude, and what I like about this so far, so many things, but we're only 2 episodes in, and the situations, it's just good writing where Oz is in a situation where you're like, you can't see how he's going to get out of it.
Right.
Which as a viewer is great. One of the worst things about watching some movies is this is going to happen. He's going to save her by doing X, Y, and Z. And then you sit back and you're like, oh, that's exactly what happened.
Right.
Because we've seen it so many times. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of lazy writing in movies.
Right.
There's not lazy writing in this.
Not at all. Not at all. After he kills the guy, in the basement.
Yeah.
He goes upstairs and now they do this search. And he gets in this tussle with the guy that's having the affair with the husband. I'm thinking he's going to drop the knife in his pocket.
Yep, Vidi,
but he actually drops it into this other guy's pocket. And,
she smokes him, dude.
Smokes him. Yep. But I was kind of pissed that the guy shot him and not let
that's right. Yeah, it wasn't
the girl do it.
It wasn't her. It was the boss, Luca.
Right.
Yeah.
And she was pissed off about that. I was pissed off about that.
Yeah.
Because it was her kill, even though it
wasn't the guy.
The wrong person, right?
Yep. But dude, when they had, Irvad in the basement, I'm like, dude, how is they're gonna know. Right. There's no way he's gonna prevent them from finding out. Then it's gonna be all out war. And nope. Dude, he gets down there, and at first he's trying to talk him into lying and saying it was VD.
But then the kid didn't make the jewelry drop in the car, so that changed things. And that's what he was talking about, thinking on your feet.
Yeah.
So,
and dude, he just kills him, stabs him right in the cell, dude. But yeah, it was. I love the pacing. Like, there's action, but then there's drama, and everything is just built so well. Like, it's just. So far, dude, 2 for 2. They've been knocking it out of the park.
And the thing about it is that they're doing it. Not only is the story good, but there's no gods flying around. There's no superpowers. There's no if there is green screen, it's not a lot of what I'm saying. It's a grounded story that makes sense, and it keeps your head on a swivel, dude. Right. Because because he had to kill the guy because the kid didn't make the jewelry drop in the car for who they intended to. So then after the other guy the bodyguard got killed, then they went and made the drop in his apartment to kind of like solidify why, in Sophia's mind, why, that guy had to go. Yeah. Which then, moving forward, that was part of the reason why she asked, the Penguin to be part of her thing that she's trying to do in the background. So just a lot of good writing in that, and without a lot of, distractions. Right.
And dude, Penguin is like, you partly want to root for him, but he's also a piece of shit. Like,
absolutely, dude.
When the way he teaches Victor a lesson, they're digging the grave, and he's like, get in there.
Right. Lay down.
Yeah. And Victor's like, he just met this guy. Like, so it's like, not like he's known him for a long time. Like, he's just fucking. You don't know what the hell's going to happen. Yep. And he's like, got him laying down, and basically, dude, if you ever do that again, you're going to be in this grave.
Yep. Look at him. Look at him.
Dude, that was sick.
That was sick.
Yep. But then in the same, sense, he's sitting there having slushies with him. It's like, and then at the end, and we see Oz and Sophia basically join forces. Right. Sophia wants to take out her own family because we see this theme of like, Sophia's probably the most savage of them all, but because she's this female, the guys are like, I ain't letting her do shit. Right. They don't even listen to her. Right. They just brush her off like she's nobody, which she's probably the most sadistic one out of all you motherfuckers.
So remember the scene where the old friend came up and hugged her in the hallway, but then she wouldn't let her interact with her daughter? Yeah,
it was her cousin. Yep.
Right, but then wouldn't let her interact with the daughter. Yep. And she was talking about, you should go to, old Italy or whatever. And then the uncle comes in later. So that means that girl is probably his daughter. Yes. Right? Yeah. And at the very least, Sophia knows that those two are talking. Yep. Right.
Absolutely.
Just conspiring to get rid of her, kind of a deal. I think that kind of put her over the edge as to like, I'm just going to take out all these dudes.
Yep. We also saw the episode open with Sophia at her therapist, and he's doing some kind of like light treatment, and it kind of puts her mentally back in Arkham because that's where she came from. So she a little off. She's a loose cannon.
Right. You see her when she walked in the room and everybody's like looking at her, staring, and then she started like stuffing her face. And
stuff. What's up with the eating, dude? Why is she eating like a 4-year-old?
I don't know. That's probably a coping mechanism.
Yeah. Like, is it something that she's doing intentional, or is it like, like you're biting your nails, you can't control it. I don't know. I don't know what story they're trying to tell there, but it kind of looks like it's not intentional. Right. Like, she's uncomfortable, and like you said, it's kind of her way of coping is just shoving fucking food down her face. Right.
Or, in her mind, what can I do to, you already think I'm appalling, so let me put you over the edge.
Yes.
Kind of a deal.
Yes. So who knows? But all I know is
it works.
It works, and I wouldn't want to be in the same movie theater as her, because imagine her eating popcorn like that.
Oh, man. That's some creepy stuff.
Out of the fucking Deadpool bucket.
There you go.
Anyway,
no, the Wolverine bucket.
Yeah, the Wolverine. Victor, I believe that I said this last week. I think Victor is going to be Victor Zsasz from the comics. You familiar with this character?
Not too familiar. I've heard the name.
Okay, he's the guy. he had a lot of money. He incorporated some money or inherited some money from his family. His parents died when he was 25 in a boating accident. It sends him into this deep depression, starts gambling, is losing a bunch of money. One night he ends up in Gotham at the Iceberg Lounge, of course, gambles everything he owns, loses it all to the Penguin. And at this point, he's attempting to commit suicide. Listen to this shit. A homeless man assaults him with a knife after Victor Zsasz refused to give like, my man's trying to jump off the bridge, and you're like, yo, come back here. Let me rob you.
It's like, okay, so I'm going to kill myself, so you threatening me with death is going to sway me.
Like, dude, this is like, like, talking about having a bad day.
Right.
You lost all your money. Now you're about to jump off a bridge, and now you're getting robbed by a fucking homeless guy at knife point, you know? So he refused to give him the money, grabs the knife, and he sees, he saw a look in the guy's eye, the homeless guy's eye, and he felt like life was meaningless, right? So then he kills him, and he does it as a gift. He's saving him because if life is meaningless, let me just relieve you from this life. That's how messed up his thought process is.
Okay.
Yeah. So he described that as he's liberating others from a pointless existence. He calls his victims zombies, usually preys on young women.
Sure, because they're powerless.
He's, been declared insane, gets locked up in Arkham, blah, 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 gets released, that whole deal. I mean, his story's crazy. We'd be here for hours going through it. But Victor, in most of the comics, will carve a tally mark on his body for everyone he's killed, and he's covered in them.
Right.
Yeah, so pretty sick, sadistic, but he's now. Why do I say that this Victor could be Victor Zsasz? I mean, number one, his name's Victor. Mm-hmm. He does have some background with the Penguin. Mm-hmm. We're seeing the knife thing now. Is that something that is, who knows? I mean, I could be wrong, but I think it would be cool, a little different origin.
Sure.
But Victor Zsasz is it just goes to a point we've talked about before. Batman's rogue gallery is insane.
Right.
I mean, this is a guy, like, you've barely even heard of this dude.
Right.
But sounds like a pretty interesting freaking character.
Insane, literally.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. That could be a hidden gem someday, Adrian.
Right.
But you had a laundry list of hidden gems, dude.
Oh, yeah.
People they're all over you, bro. But before we get into hidden gem, I got something. A little we respond, Adrian.
Okay.
Yes. So got a handful this week, so we can kind of get through these pretty quick. I got the Captain Canada. He's commented before from on YouTube. Says, such a great episode, guys. Time to touch grass, people. We agree. Love the hidden gems. Would love to hear more of Namor as a hidden gem. We saw him in Wakanda Forever, but I feel there's way more to this character than what we got. Appreciate you guys. What do you say to Captain Canada?
Well, we didn't see Namor. That was just a bad rendition of Namor to me. The whole Atlantean thing, Namorita, it was just bad the way they portrayed them. I didn't like it at all.
Yep.
But definitely Namor is such a badass. We can definitely, slide him into a hidden gem slot. And there is so much more to him.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I mean, dude, first mutant in some stories, and just,
Right.
I mean, he's old as hell.
Right. Well, he's not Randall Savage old. He's like probably a couple of 100 years old, but which anyway, we won't get into it.
But really, really cool character.
Yeah,
And the thing about Namor is he's interacted with so many different Marvel
Absolutely.
characters. Everyone from Iron Man to the Avengers to T'Challa
Susan Storm.
to Sue Storm.
Definitely interacted with Susan Storm.
Yeah. Reed Richards he won't like the hidden gem. That's for damn sure. But dude, he's been everywhere. And he's walked that line. There's been times where I would even say he's close to being a villain at times.
Right.
I mean, he walks that anti-hero line, right? Really interesting character. Where I was first introduced to Namor was the Iron Man Demon in a Bottle story. Remember when he's the alcoholic? And it's an old comic, so the artwork's kind of, but it's cool. Yeah. And Namor is kind of an antagonist in that. And so that's when I realized, like, this is a pretty cool character.
Yeah.
Plank D-Tank. Plank D-Tank. Okay, I like that, dude. Like Hank the Tank almost. He says, great fun show again, guys. First off, Battinson would kick Bale's Batman's ass all over Gotham. That's right, Plank the Tank. As you guys are doing your top 5 MCU movies next week, well, we just did, so it's like we traveled in time. How about this? What are your top 5 DC movies, but you can't include Batman movies? Dude, I don't know that I have 5 DC movies without Batman.
All right.
What is DC without Batman? What? The Flash? Blue Beetle? No. I mean, there are probably some Superman movies in there. But yeah, I can't.
It'd be hard to scrape that one together.
That'd be hard, dude. Here's the answer: Batman and Batman and Batman and Batman and Batman. Those are my favorite DC movies.
There you go.
Now he provided his list though. So here's
wait a minute. So DCU movies or just DC
movies? In general.
Okay. All right, that makes it a little easier.
I'll give you his list. So he said 5, The Losers. I don't know what that is. 4, V for Vendetta. That's a DC movie.
Yeah.
3, The Suicide Squad. He goes, I know you hate it, but I really enjoyed it. You're right. I do hate it. 2, Constantine, and 1, Superman 2 of the old Christopher Reeve story.
Okay.
So not a bad list.
That's a range. That's a range there.
Yeah.
But I like it. But yeah, the fact that you're not saying DCU as opposed to just all inclusive DC,
right?
That kind of makes it a little easier.
Oh yeah, you couldn't do a DCU list without that. No. So, anyways, John Bon Von. Now he changed his screen name, Adrian. He says after hearing you guys say Brian freaking Vaughn. Remember Brian freaking Vaughn a couple weeks ago? Which is from years and years ago, back in my 20s, I decided to change it to a more updated screen name with John Bon Von. It sounds so cringy to hear it, he says. I didn't dislike Brian freaking Vaughn. But I get, like you have like an old email from like when you were a kid, like, I don't know, dude, bro nasty 25, like just some crazy shit, like.
Or anything with AOL.
Yeah, oh my God, the AOL ones, dude. Like, come on. Little Young Thug or something. I mean, it's just, who knows? But Brian freaking, we helped Brian freaking Vaughn change his username.
That's influence.
That is influence, dude.
We are influencers.
We are, dude. So John Bon Von. I like the new name. Like John Bon Von. It's almost like Bon
John
Jovi.
Yeah. Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi, yeah. It's just as confusing. But, well, dude, kudos to John Bon Von, my man. All right, Rider Fan 04 says, hey, Mike and Adrian, great episode as always. First off, I just want to say that, yes, on the DC's marketing misstep episode from last August, you absolutely did say, who's asking for this when it came to the Thunderbolts, LOL. This is great, because last week we were talking about, I said, dude, someone watching this, let us know. Because I thought we said it. We did.
Yeah.
Yep. He goes, I'm still watching old episodes, as I mentioned in my last comment a few weeks ago. I had a hidden gem. Here you go, another one. Hidden gem request for Adrian. And personally, one of my favorite comic characters, Ghost Rider. I love the first movie, Nicolas Cage. Sadly, the second movie was a bit of a train wreck. Yeah, I'd agree with that. They redeemed themselves by bringing Robbie to life in the 4th season of Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Ghost Rider was in one of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. shows. Wonder if you guys could rank your favorite animated films. My top 3 in no particular order are The Flashpoint Paradox. That's a great movie. Yep. Killing Joke. Ooh, I don't like that one. And Dark Knight Returns Part 2. Dark Knight Returns Part 2 is good. So we'll do our top 5 animated comic movies next week, Adrian. How's that sound?
Movies like individual or series like X-Men 97?
No, movies.
Okay.
Yep, no shows. Straight up movies. And they don't have to have been a theatrical release, because some of these were just straight, as you would call them, straight to DVD, but no one knows what that means anymore. Straight to streaming.
Right, there you go.
But yeah, so you know what? Rider Fan 04. Oh, is that why you're a Rider fan? Ghost Rider. We finally figured it out, because Rider Fan's been on here before.
Yeah. So what's interesting is that when I was looking at this week's hidden gem, the first thing that popped in my mind was Ghost Rider.
Really?
So it'll definitely be in the future, but it's not today.
Okay. Greco Slavic. I wonder if he's going to change his name, or I don't know. But anyway,
sounds like a real name to me.
You think so, Greco? Greco Slavic. Well, I like it. Don't change it, Greco. Hey, gentlemen. Call us gentlemen. Look at that. Means he's about to shit on us. You guys suck so bad. No, he says, hey, gentlemen, first off, I love the pod. It never feels like an almost 2-hour conversation, because y'all switch it up throughout, and it just feels like I'm having a convo with the bros. Nice. That is what this is. It's a convo with the bros. My question, as someone who never reads comics, Where do I even begin? Been wanting to get into reading some, but just don't know where to start. So I had a little idea, a little way to solve this, Adrian. So a couple things. One, we've done some polls on YouTube,
right?
And it sounds like people want some more content, right? So we're doing this once a week. You got your hidden gem on here. I'm thinking about starting my own little book club, Adrian. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I will announce what I'm reading on the podcast. I'll read it throughout the week. Any one of our fans that wants to read the same book, and then I'm going to drop a separate video from this, just reviewing the comic. Okay.
So how does that answer his question?
That's a great question, Adrian. I have a little stack here of some of some things we're going to start with. So now I also asked Greco. Now, Greco, you didn't respond. I said, what have you read anything yet? Or what are some of your favorite movies so I can suggest some?
Okay.
But 'tis the season for Batman because
the season.
Batman's a Halloween. Batman's all year round. But,
sure.
And it's the 85th anniversary of Batman this year.
Right.
So I want to apologize that we've not talked about Batman enough this year because this is 85th anniversary, you know. But this
Wait a minute. We have not talked enough about Batman. Wow. That's a stretch, dude.
You don't think so?
Nice. Woo.
Okay. All right. Touche. We have talked about Batman a lot. But I'm going to start with Batman Year One.
Okay.
And I think this is a great comic to start with, especially if you're a Batman fan. But it tells a pretty grounded Batman story. It's a great origin story. Great artwork, too. Remember a couple weeks ago I brought in that giant version. So I'm going to read this. And if you guys want to read along, have at it. It also shows you see Catwoman's origin in this story as well, somewhat. And if you like the Batman, if you like Batman Begins, I think you'll love this comic.
Okay.
Thing is, and this is why I say we're just scratching the surface with Batman, most of the movies have been inspired by the same Batman comics. The Long Halloween has influenced almost every Batman movie that's out there.
Right.
I mean, the Batman, we see a lot of influence from the Long Halloween. Dark Knight, from the Long Halloween. The Penguin Show, most of the characters started in that comic. And that just goes back to what we were talking about earlier. There's so many other Batman stories to tell that we don't need to be telling fake orphan stories of characters that were never orphans together. Right. Next up, this is of the New 52, the New 52 line. This is when DC rebooted. I think it was after Flashpoint. The Court of Owls. This is not an origin. It's kind of a reboot for Batman. The Bat family's already established. They introduced the Court of Owls for the first time. They're really a team of high, insane corruption.
Right.
Deep in the history of Gotham. Great story. And then my all-time favorite, Batman Long Halloween. This is a great starting one, too. It's early Batman. He's probably, I think, year 2, year 3-ish.
So kind of in line with Pattinson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Which is why it makes sense that they're pulling from this.
Right.
So any of these would be great to start. We're going to start with Year One. I'm going to read that, and again next week, drop a separate video on that. And you guys want to read along? That'd be great. If not, I'll be in my own book club by myself. But the reason I want to do this, we get this question a lot of where to begin.
We do.
And I'll be honest, I've read a handful of comics a lot. I wouldn't say I've read a lot of comics.
Right.
There's certain ones that I'll reread because I really like. So for me, it'd be a way to read some more and interact with you all. So next up, Journey NL says, just like the X-Men was never done justice on screen, basically says, I'm kind of paraphrasing, basically says the Justice League characters have never had a proper script for a movie. The characters itself are cast okay-ish, but the general movies are trash. I'd agree with that.
I would agree with that.
We say about the X-Men because there's been so many X-Men movies and they haven't really nailed it. There's only been the 2 Justice League movies, well, the 3 if you count the gray scale, the black and gray one, and it's slow motion, so it feels like 8 movies.
Right.
But they've not been done justice as a whole.
No, I would agree with that.
I mean, Batman's been done justice in certain movies. Superman, I feel, has been done justice at times, right? The Flash, no. Wonder Woman, in her first movie.
I've never. I mean, she kind of grew on me, but
Yeah.
I never thought Gal Gadot was the Wonder Woman.
Okay.
The storyline I think was pretty cool. The
Yeah.
first one. 87
84.
or whatever,
Yeah,
84,
it was
whatever
bad.
it was. Man, nah.
Aquaman, I've not seen the movies. You have. Would you say he's been done justice?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that has really been the only crossover. And by crossover, I mean race crossover character.
Yeah.
They have done
They
well.
redefine the whole character
Yeah,
pretty
absolutely.
much. Yeah. That'd be like making Black Panther Irish or something, you know?
All
It'd be very strange.
Very strange.
Don't do it. That's not, the focus group says no on that one. But yeah, I'd agree. I don't think the Justice League as a whole, we've seen them done justice in animation, but not in live action.
Yeah.
Arkness Draws. Maybe that's the name. Maybe I'm screwing that up. But he says, if watching gay people turns your kids gay, then just have them watch straight people. Same logic.
Exactly.
I like that.
Exactly.
Daylord says, if all it takes is one comic strip to turn someone gay, chances are they were already gay. And there's that too.
And there's that.
Yeah, so no, I don't think watching anything is gonna make you change into that. Like, dude, my wife watches a lot of murder mystery shows. Okay.
Dude, don't go there.
She's not killed me yet, or anyone else. So I'm just saying. I don't think I'm just saying. Hung Solo. Oh, easy, dude. Keep it.
Wow.
Dude, that's too woke.
Yep.
The greatest Batman villain, in my opinion, is Scarecrow, and they could make such a great live-action Scarecrow movie in a dark horror thriller, almost noir take on Batman. And then he says, I need an Arkham Asylum movie. Now, a couple things here. I don't think Scarecrow's the greatest villain.
Right.
But he is a really cool villain, and he's been done right in certain comics. Movies, not so much. He's been really kind of almost neutered. I mean, we had in the Dark Knight series.
Right.
It was okay for that series, but it wasn't like, knocked it out of the park type shit. And he's one I think that, I want to say easy, but he's easy to incorporate into a movie.
Right.
Because his power, it's not crazy. His power set isn't insane. It's all based off of the fear toxin and the appearance and whatnot. And I think a dark horror thriller noir take on Batman would be cool. I agree with this Hung Solo.
And the whole Arkham thing, we talked about that. I think last week. I mean, you could just literally have. It'd be like Orange is the New Black. Not like that, but it's a prison movie.
Yeah.
Where you can literally bring in anybody through there.
Yep.
And have a couple central characters in it. Some guard or something like that. Where they're central, but you can literally bring in like every one of Batman's villains through Arkham and have an episode about that. So
yeah, absolutely. There was rumors that Matt Reeves was working on an Arkham Asylum show. So who knows if that will come to light. But if you're asking the Super Focus Group Committee, we gotta come up with a better name, guys. Super Focus Group Committee is not going to work. Yeah. But if you're asking us. I will give the green light on the Arkham Asylum show. Okay, so you get my blessing. All right. So this is how it works. You suggest something that we haven't even been contacted yet, but we're just going to move forward like we're part of the group.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And the group just being me and you. So a duo, if you will. Khalil Beazle says the new Mystique Nightcrawler family tree origin is woke. Azazel was just fine being the daddy. So we talked about this on the show before, right? And this is, if I'm remembering right, Mystique turned into a dude,
right,
and then got who pregnant?
I forget the name, but it was obviously the mother, but I forget what her name was. But anyway, it was somebody that was like encouraging all this kind of a stuff, and but it's not that Mystique just turned into a man physically. She turned into a man to the point where she had the reproductive system of a man to impregnate a woman to then give birth to a child. That's woke.
Yeah.
Or maybe not.
Maybe not. But that just goes to show you that comics have always been this way.
Well, it goes to show you that comics isn't like a kid's thing.
That too.
If you think about that, that's some insane stuff.
Yeah. But hey, it is what it is. All I know is I read that. I didn't then turn into a female. I don't think that's how it works, dude.
Or a demon, which is
I didn't turn into a demon either. Yeah,
you know.
Dude, if that's the case, man, I've been watching, Wolverine for years. Where are my claws and healing power?
Right. I've been watching, Superman. I'm not flying in outer space.
This is bullshit.
I'm not lifting planets.
No, not at all, dude. What's funny is our buddy on TikTok, Johnny Bravo, the one talking shit.
Right.
Dude, we're still waiting for the video. So now our fans are in the comments talking shit to him. It's the greatest thing ever.
Wow.
And then even somebody asked him, like, dude, where's the video? He goes, he says, I'm busy running businesses. Businesses. And then someone goes, yeah, but you have time to drop 40 comments in here. Wow. But anyway, Delono Baker. So remember a few weeks ago, I read a comment on We Respond where a guy says that his mom said that Michael Keaton is the greatest Batman. And I told him get a new mom. So this is my man here. Delono Baker says, I showed my mom the clip of you guys saying how Keaton is not the best Batman, and she loved it. She's still standing on that ledge. But hey, I want you to know, if you guys ever thought about having a segment highlighting or mentioning any small independent comics, if you have any in mind or not. So I've never thought about it. We've had a few send us some comics, which we reviewed. So I think the thing is I don't do a lot of research into independent comics, so I don't know. We know, friend of the show, Chris, he's got The First Night, which and then we had our friends from the UK,
Across the pond,
send us over something. Extra Man, who I see, shout out to them. I see them on TikTok all the time doing their thing. They're at Comic Cons putting out comic books. So Extra Man, that was cool. I actually do want to check out the second issue.
Yeah.
And then there was the other one. It was about Monster. We did I can't remember the name of it, but it was a black and white with kind of red pop. It was a zombie-esque, almost Last of Us style. Yeah. Wasn't bad. I mean, I'm not a big zombie guy, but for a zombie comic, I thought it was pretty cool.
Sure.
But hey, Delono Baker, if you got any suggestions, I would say ask your mom, but I don't. I don't know, dude.
I don't know, but there's also so many independent comics out there that's outside of DC and Marvel.
Yeah,
it's like
so
DC
many,
and Marvel just dominated the game. But Malibu Comics.
Yeah, you
that
go.
was one that from back in the day.
Yep.
So there's a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah.
The Spawn.
Well, speaking of the Spawn, I didn't have it here, but somebody also suggested Spawn as a hidden gem. That'd be a cool one.
Yeah.
Not DC, not Marvel. I mean, it's probably. Would you say Spawn's probably the most popular comic book character that's not DC or Marvel?
I would probably say Spawn, maybe Lady Death.
Okay.
Which we did. I think I did a hidden gem on her a month or so back.
Yep.
There's a couple of characters that have bubbled up out there.
Yeah.
But they're not mainstream, so
right.
I mean, it's they haven't taken ground.
Yeah. Well, another week of We Respond. Keep the comments coming, and we appreciate some of y'all get the humor. Like our guys, poking fun at Johnny Bravo for saying if you watch someone gay, your kids will turn gay. But all in all, dude, it's about having fun.
Sure.
Some of my favorite comments are like, when people say, "You guys just make Monday so much better," and that's great because we are what one of the fans said. It's just a couple bros having a conversation,
right?
And if us doing that improves your day, I'm happy for you, and we're gonna keep fucking doing it. So, sometimes you get the people talking shit on TikTok, like, "Oh man, anyone can have a podcast now. Just shut this show down." Well, it's not gonna happen. Nope. We're here for the long run. So, moving on, Adrian, the long-awaited hidden gem. So, it's kind of like the same. You mentioned earlier that you just like to react real time. You also don't tell me who the hidden gem is anymore.
Nope.
And I just react real time. So, and now what's even cool is there's so many suggestions. So part of me, I'm like, I wonder who he's gonna pick. Right. Like before, you had your own picks, but now I'm like, I know he's got this list. Which one of these is it gonna be this week? Right. So, what do we got going on this week?
All right, so this is one I think it was suggested. It came across, and there's a lot of parallels with this one character. So this week's hidden gem is Jonah Hex.
Okay.
So this character is like I don't know if you ever saw that show Cowboys and Aliens, but it's like, kind of it has nothing to do with aliens, but there's some mysticism depending on who's writing them. So Jonah Hex was a bounty hunter from the 19th century. Born to mother and father in 1838. Kind of had an upbringing like what was the girl that we did? I can't think of her name right now. But anyway, bad upbringing, was abused by his father. Unlike the other, she's so pivotal too in this context. I can't think of her name. The virus girl.
Not Jocasta.
No. Anyway.
Marvel, DC.
Marvel. She was like Dr. Doom hired her. She married Fisk. Bulimia, virus.
Shit.
Why are we drawing a blank on this?
Not Typhoid Mary.
Typhoid Mary.
Okay.
That's exactly who it is.
Right.
Wow, bulimia. Anyway.
Bulimia Mary.
So he had an abusive upbringing.
Yeah. Not
like Typhoid Mary, where her father was sexually abusing her. His father was just beating his ass, it sounds like, right?
Okay.
So, and that's important because it kind of shapes him later on. So Jonah Hex, it got to the point where his father was like, and I guess you could do this back in the day. He just sold his son into slavery to the Indians, right?
Oh, damn.
And they continued the abuse until one day Jonah saved the tribal chief from a puma. You don't hear that word. You hear like jaguar, cougar.
Yeah.
It's a giant, big cat.
Okay.
So saved him from a puma. After that, the chief made him like an adoptive son. And of course, the real son was jealous. They were both the two sons were after the same girl. There's rivalry. Same thing like throughout history, most wars are started over women, kind of a deal. So they both wanted her. And during some growing of age thing, when they like you're 16, you kind of like prove yourself as a man.
Yeah.
The chief's real son sabotaged Jonah's growing of age thing, kind of left him for dead. Everybody thought he was dead. The real son goes back. He marries the girl. Nobody knew that he actually was still alive. But he was found by some cavalrymen. But these cavalrymen, back then they were going around scalping all the Indians. They're getting like $25 a scalp or something, which is probably big money back then, right? But they were going to protect Jonah until Jonah was actually started trying to defend two Indian kids, and so they just shot him, like Indian lover kind of a deal. So left him for dead. He was found by a trapper, and the trapper nursed him back. So he goes through this whole torrid life, and that was the importance of the abuse. So, abused by his father, sold into slavery to Indians who abused him. Comes along, his now brother betrays him, leaves him for dead.
Damn.
Gets found by these cavalry dudes. They end up shooting him in the gut because he's trying to defend Indians. Gets found by this trapper. And then, his life starts to continue on. After that, he goes into the cavalry. He has mixed feelings because, the whole point of the cavalry in this storyline was, taking over Indian land. And then they get into the Northern War. He kind of on the fence about that. So basically abuse throughout this whole guy's life, right? At some point, he goes back and he catches up with that tribe. And then... there's still some conflict between he tells the chief about the betrayal of the brother. They don't believe him, but then they have to do this combat. The guy again sabotages his tomahawk, loosens it up. So there's a way that they have to fight.
It's got worse luck than Peter Parker.
Exactly.
Holy shit.
Just worse and worse and worse and worse. He sabotages his tomahawk to where he has to like stab him with the handle, which is outside of the laws, the rules of this combat. But he actually kills the chief's original son, right? So because of the fact that he had to go outside of the rules to also murder his son, so the chief is mad. You didn't follow the rules and you murder my son. So they branded him, which is like they took a tomahawk, they superheated it, and then they like, smashed it into his whole right side of his face. So he's like a two-faced kind of a appeal to him, right?
Okay.
And I mean, eye hanging out and teeth hanging out and all this other kind of stuff. So because of that, for the rest of his life, he's looked at as a monster. He goes into towns, people don't want him because to them he's disfigured and hard to look at and all this other kind of stuff. So he goes into this town, and he's a drunken dude and so on and so forth. And he walks outside, and there's this guy abusing his wife. So in his drunken state, he sees his father, right? And so he just kills the guy. Well, it turns out that the guy was actually a criminal and with a bounty on his head. And the sheriff looking at him like, dude, you're like the fastest gun I've ever seen in my life, even though you're drunk, and you just happened to kill this wanted guy. So he gave him this bounty, and that's how he turned into a bounty hunter. He's like, dude, I can make money just going around killing people. So that's what he did. But he leaves town. He's riding out of town, and he just throws the money up in the air in the streets because he don't really care about the money. He's riding off all happy into this next part of his life. So he spends the next several decades just going around killing people. He probably killed over 300 people. So, I mean, he retires in his 60s, still doing this bounty hunter thing.
Yeah.
Ultimately, he gets killed. Fumbling because he meets this guy. He's in a bar playing, drinking, and this guy comes in from somewhere, and there's like this duel, but he gets shot because he's trying to put on his glasses. So kind of a shitty way to die after all of that. But, he was married to this other Indian chick later on, and they tried to claim the body because by this time he's infamous, right? Everybody knows about his reputation. People trying to interview him, people trying to get him at the end of his life to be part of his carnival. He's like, dude, I don't want to be at the end of my, I'm in my 60s. I don't want to be riding around on a horse, shooting out candles or some dumb shit. So he refused that. So after getting killed, the guy tried to reclaim his body because he wanted to stuff him and put him on display, which actually ended up happening. And his body, even after it was dead, transferred hands several times because people wanted to just prop him up, like kind of a sideshow. He was reanimated by the Black Lanterns as a zombie. So there was some adventures with that. Did some time traveling. Popped into the 21st century. There was a rewrite. He popped into the 21st century. He had some interaction with Randall Savage, who hired him to kill Batman, to the time-traveling Batman, which he actually defeated him. Hex defeated Batman. But, of course, they're going to write it to, Batman was, paraphrasing, Batman wasn't well. He lost his memory, so he didn't have all of his knowledge, blah, 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 blah. But he also killed Superman. Or shot. He also, in some writings, killed Superman with a kryptonite bullet.
Well, I mean,
so
he's Superman,
right? He's just Superman.
Just Superman.
But so this guy was a badass for powers. He had none. Well, in the show, and I get to this because it breaks a rule. In the show, he could bring back the dead for a few minutes and make them talk.
Okay.
Like in this show, Jonah Hex, he would he can go to a grave and he would interrogate him. They would give him all the answers and whatever, and he would move on. Then the body would just go back dead or whatever.
Got it.
Outside of that, he really didn't have any other powers. But you can imagine with all the abuse, right, that he had, out of all the exposure that he had, the military, the Indians, just surviving, he had a lot of developed skills. So. Yeah. Marksman, very good marksman, faster than anybody. They say he was faster than Wild Bill Hickok and all these other people. Damn. Very good with swords and guns and knives and all this other kind of stuff, but had no supernatural or superhuman or mutant abilities at all. He was just a badass that had honed his skills, kind of like a Batman, right? Very good with pistols, very good with rifles, very good with long swords with his time in the cavalry, and then just spent a lot of time killing people. He had this code of honor where he would protect kids, women, things like that. So even though he had this reputation, right? Even his reputation. Matter of fact, there were some criminals that would just give up, or they would be off because they heard that he was coming after them, right?
Got it.
So just all around badass. So he wasn't very popular in the U.S., but very popular overseas. He had, matter of fact, his comic is like the 72nd or 70 in the 70s as far as popularity of comics, right? So I think it's an intriguing character. Can definitely do a lot with that, especially now they're bringing back a lot of like Western kind of shows. That's always been popular in the States, but for some reason, this version of a Western show Western comic was not as popular here.
Okay.
So, but the rule that he broke was that he didn't break it. Josh Brolin broke it.
Yeah.
Because Josh Brolin has played him, Jonah Hex.
Yeah.
He's also, of course, done Thanos, and he's also done Cable.
Yeah.
So my man Josh is just like pimping Brolin out.
He is, dude. He just turned down, was it Hal Jordan? Right. Yeah. Which I guess that's probably a good thing because that's 4, dude.
Yeah.
It's too many. I've never seen the Jonah Hex movie. Have you?
There's he played Jonah Hex with Josh Brolin.
Yep.
Megan Fox.
Okay.
Fassbender was in it.
Shit.
Who's the other guy? He's an older
Malkovich.
guy. Matt Malkovich.
Okay.
Yep.
Will Arnett. No
Yep.
shit.
Yep.
Quite the cast here.
It was actually a decent show.
Yeah.
I mean, decent movie.
Now, if you're saying that, you're not going to believe this. The Rotten Tomato scores for this movie.
Right.
The critics gave it a 12.
Right.
And then the audience gave it a 20, dude.
Yeah.
Wow. So you don't think?
I mean, the highest score I saw was like a 36.
Wow.
But yeah.
Now, to you, what would you give this movie?
I'd give it a 70.
Okay.
I'd give it a pass.
How was that good for you?
Yeah. It was just it was entertaining along the lines of like Cowboys and Aliens. A lot of people never even heard of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was with the last James Bond, the blonde James Bond.
Not Pierce. I see his face. So
I see him. But also had Harrison Ford in it.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a pretty good show.
Got it.
For whatever it was.
So this is worth a watch, you think? Jonah Hex. I didn't even know this was a movie until people were saying, when we were talking about Brolin recently, they were like, he played Jonah Hex. I'm like, who the fuck's Jonah Hex?
Yeah.
I didn't even know this thing. It came out in 2010.
I would say that is better than the Eternals.
Damn, better than the Eternals. I mean, there's a lot of things, but Deadpool Wolverine's better than the Eternals.
Well, I mean those two movies shouldn't even be spoken about in the same sentence.
Well, we're gonna test this. Daniel Craig.
Yes,
That's
Daniel
the
Craig.
guy. Yep.
Daniel Craig, Cowboys and Aliens. I think both of those movies are worth a watch. I could sit down and watch both of those over a weekend.
Okay.
And I've seen Cowboys and Aliens like 5 times already, dude. It's just a good. It's nothing extraordinary about it. There's no Infinity War moments in it.
Okay.
It's just a good, steady movie.
Yeah.
And I think Jonah Hex is about the same.
No shit.
Yeah.
Another great hidden gem. Yeah, I wasn't expecting Jonah. I remember, I forget who suggested him, but you got a list till like end of the year now.
Oh,
almost,
yeah,
it seems
absolutely.
like. Yeah. It's almost like, dude, stop, no more.
And it's funny, I was gonna do Ghost Rider. I was also looking at Booster Gold.
Yeah.
Dude, I got into Boost. I mean, I know who Booster Gold, and I told you he was basically a clown. And when I'm researching it, he's such a clown. I don't even want to do it. It's like it's just a skeevy kind of a personality. Yeah.
Oh shit. Well, there is a hidden gem. I would say this before Sons of Sekhmet. I know he'll say this, but 5-star Adrian. I'm gonna start calling you 5-star Adrian.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Or just Adrian.
Okay. Just say, dude. There was a comment on TikTok. It said, and actually, I seen this comment like twice. I don't know why, and I don't know if it was different people. Ace Man BC says, "I dare y'all to do an episode with no hats." Like, why? I'm like, why? So you know what I did? If you go to the wide shot, Adrian, this is how we would look with no hats.
Exactly.
So there you go. We just did an episode with no hats. But I mean, like, we're bald. Like, what do you want to know, dude? You know, I'm not ashamed of it.
Well, I'm having a bad hair day, so.
Oh yeah, you're not fresh.
Not today. No. I'm not fresh today.
Okay, well, I got the fresh baldy, so there it is. You get a few minutes with. Look at that. Dude. Look at that shine. No baby oil. No baby oil. Coconut oil.
There you go.
That's what you use. So there you go, Ace Man BC. But I need you to explain to me why you want to see an episode with no hats. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. Matter of fact, we've probably done an episode in the past with no hats.
I don't know. Maybe we need to turn some people into men. I don't know.
I don't know. Do you think if you watch us wearing a hat, you might start wearing a hat? That's not how it works. You might be too woke. So, anyways, agree to disagree, Adrian. This is the go home. This is the go home. Okay, that's what they say in showbiz, in the biz.
Biz.
So this is where I'm gonna rapid fire 10 of my opinions at Adrian,
and I will try to rapid fire a response. Try.
Yeah. We say rapid fire. We use that term loosely.
Yeah, right.
It's about rapid fire is Zack Snyder's slow mo sometimes. But anyways, but these are my opinions, and most of them I just came up with while we were talking today, Adrian. It's just I like to keep it, real,
right?
But like you said, we're kind of an off the cuff type of show.
That's it.
I think that's why. I mean, to your point earlier, I prepare a little bit, but it's all about just having a conversation.
It's organic.
It's organic. It's also fun with Mike and Adrian.
There you go.
For everyone but Johnny Bravo. It's not fun for him. All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Number 1, Deadpool and Wolverine was better than Black Panther 2.
Agree.
You hesitate. Made me nervous there. It was just for the dramatics?
It was dramatic.
Okay. So far, the Penguin is better than Agatha.
Agree.
Joker 2 is a complete waste of $200 million.
I haven't seen it, but based on the responses and your response, I would say agree.
I'm going to go with that, until someone can change my mind. The Long Halloween, which is actually right here, look at that, I'm promoting this for DC,
right,
is the best Batman story ever told.
I agree with that.
Top that. You can't. Joker has not been done properly on screen since Heath Ledger.
Agree.
Think about it. We had Joaquin.
Yep.
Not so much.
Not so much.
And now even more of a miss after. I mean, just seeing the trailer of this movie, and your boy Jared Leto was a complete disaster.
I don't agree with that. He was a disaster. I think he was a good Joker. He was a better Joker than the other kid was Morbius. I'll put it that way.
All right, but you wouldn't say he knocked it out of the park.
No.
Okay. And we saw a little bit of a Joker in the Batman, Barry Keoghan, I think is his name, but it wasn't enough to really call that Joker yet. So, Deadpool and Wolverine is better than the Eternals.
Agree.
Pattinson would beat the shit out of Michael Keaton's Batman.
Agree.
Everyone watching this on TikTok should go to YouTube or Spotify and watch a full episode.
Agree.
Joaquin Phoenix as Joker is a joke.
I agree.
A bad one. And then last but not least, everyone should go read Year One and join me next week for my Year One discussion.
Agree.
There you go. You agree across the board this week, Adrian. We're on it. But going back to the Joker thing, it was like we had Jack Nicholson was even going back, Cesar Romero, I believe, in the Adam West show.
Yep.
I thought he was a good Joker.
Yep.
It was a little funny that he didn't shave the mustache and he just painted over it. Like, dude, we can see the mustache. But, I mean, from a look standpoint and for what that show was, he played a great Joker.
Yeah.
In animation, Mark Hamill's Joker is just next level.
Right.
It's cool. Mark Hamill seems like he'd be a cool dude. Like, if he wanted to show up the show and bullshit with us, I think it'd be fun. Him and Kevin Conroy had such a good relationship that when Kevin passed, I think it was last year, Mark said, I won't do Joker without Kevin Conroy.
Wow. Because
they just have done it. So between the animated series is where they started together. They've done a handful of animated movies together. The video games, the Arkham series, they do, I think, 2 of the 3 games, and it's just phenomenal. So it's kind of like, that's my Batman. I'm not going to do it without him. That was pretty cool.
Star Wars, Mark Hamill?
Yeah,
yeah. Cool.
And that's some shit that Luke Skywalker, like, I would, maybe we'll say that for next week, but I would argue that his Joker's better than his Luke Skywalker.
That's not saying much.
No. I take it you're not a fan of Luke Skywalker.
That whole franchise is kind of like. I'll put it this way.
Needs the old Yeller treatment.
Right. I would take Star Trek over Star Wars.
Okay. I would. This isn't an agree. Well, it is still, but not. But I would disagree with that.
That's okay.
But you think about Joker, we had Cesar Romero as like the first really well-known one, right? Jack Nicholson, who I think did a great job at the time. Like, you know, obviously Heath Ledger improved on that and surpassed him. Mm-hmm. Now, some people on TikTok don't feel that way, but it's okay because they're wrong, and that's all right. You can be wrong, and I can be right. That's usually what happens when we come here. Right. But Jack Nicholson, I think, did a great job.
Sure. And
then Heath Ledger knocked it out of the park. And then it was like all downhill from there. You know, it started with Jared Leto, and then it ended up with this Joaquin thing. So anyway, but dude, another week here on Only Comics. Another fun show we had, and guys, someone said, so let me see if I have it real quick. Sons of Sekhmat said, thank you. Once again, Adrian's superpower is apparently encyclopedic knowledge. So that's another one of your powers, yeah. So happy that you'll be going live. I work late Monday nights, but do my best to catch up each week. So we will be doing that in a few weeks. And I deeply appreciate your involvement with all your fans. And honestly, that's part of this when we started that I don't say I didn't expect, but it wasn't my goal. Mm-hmm. Our goal was just let's get together once a week, have some fun, talk shit about comics. But I'll be interacting with people on YouTube, on TikTok. It's been fun. Yeah. It's great. Like I love the interaction.
Sure.
Even the ones that talk shit. Like and I mean this in all sincerity. I do not take this serious. Like I'm not at home at night, you know, crying because someone said something. Like, it's all fun.
Right.
Now, if you want to go there, we'll go there. I have no problem. Like, be careful because we're not other accounts. I got a day job. You disrespect me, I'm going to talk some shit back. But I mean it with love. And it's been fun. And keep the interaction coming because that's been a piece of this, like I said, that I didn't expect, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
There's some great fans, and we're just getting rolling. So. Yeah. Oh, Adrian, thanks for coming out.
Absolutely, man.
Thanks for the hidden gem. And if you're wondering how we look without hats, there you go. Just a little bit smaller. I mean, they're not true to life size, believe it or not.
Right.
But appreciate y'all checking us out, joining us. Hit subscribe if you've not already. Go to onlycomicsmerch.com. You can get that amazing shirt that Adrian's wearing. You actually can get this shirt on there too, believe it or not. We got some Marvel merch, you know. Cool. So, and that is not a Flash hat. It's just Black Adam. Dude, your boy came back to WWE the other night. The Rock.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he was back in the house, dude.
Nice.
Yep, so all my wrestling fans out there, let me know what you thought about Bad Blood. I thought it was a good show. The Rock's back.
Is this dude as massive as he looks?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yep. Wow. You see him out there, dude, and some of these other grown men look like children next to him because he's just a fucking monster.
Wow.
And I saw the rumor again that the MCU wants him to play Apocalypse.
Really?
And I think I'm here for it.
Sure.
I think a lot of people easy to say he's just act like The Rock. I think he can pull off Apocalypse. I do.
I don't understand why people are saying that.
Yeah, I mean, he's no Leonardo DiCaprio actor, but he could pull it off. I think he can manage. You know, he knocked Black Adam out of the park.
Yeah,
you know, I like that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Adrian, thanks for coming out.
Absolutely, man.
Guys, thanks for checking us out. You know where to find us every week right here on Only Comics. We'll see you next week.
See ya.